This is all of it on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. This weekend, Greenwood Cemetery is opening what it calls its new front door. It's a new visitor center called the Greenhouse. It expands on the cemetery's original greenhouse built in 1895, and it has now been restored. To mark the opening, Greenwood Cemetery commissioned artist Shin to create two works. One will be on view at the new building, and one will be at the main entrance. The pieces are on view starting April 18th, also the opening date of the Greenwood Cemetery's new Greenhouse Visitor Center. There's an event with Jean on Saturday that's open to the public from 3 to 5 p.m. And artist Jean Shin is my guest. Welcome to WNYC.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
You are a Brooklyn-based artist. Before you were commissioned to do this work, what was your relationship with Greenwood Cemetery?
Oh, well, I've seen some amazing projects by other artists. And I'm thinking about Janine Antoni's projects in the Creps, Sophie Collet's projects. I mean, epic projects in a space that is so sacred and so special to New Yorkers.
Why is a cemetery a good setting for a piece of public art?
Because it holds so many memories and histories, but it's also incredibly beautiful. So the experience of someone walking through that space, we're moved thinking about what's here, thinking about what's past. And to be able to have an encounter with art is another layer. There's monuments all over. There's birds and flowers and just, the kind of experiential space is such a welcome kind of moment to capitalize with public arts.
If people check out the new visitor center this weekend, called the Greenhouse, they'll see your piece, and help me say this right. Celadon?
Yes, Celadon.
Celadon Landscape. Where did the initial idea for this piece come from?
Well, Celadon Landscape is linked to another public work that I did in Flushing, Queens. So MTA commissioned this project on the Broadway station. And Flushing, Queens, as you know, is like the epicenter of Korean life. Mm-hmm. And you walk in, you feel like you're in Seoul. And I said, what kind of public work, permanent work would I give? And it felt like a offering of the most treasured art. And Celadon vases and ceramics, it has this incredible history in Korea, and everyone knows about it.
Would you share a little bit of it?
Sure.
With us?
It's this beautiful green blue glaze, and it's double firing. It's incredibly complex to make, and so much of the production goes to waste. The makers literally destroy 40 to 60% of their ceramics because there's a little flaw, and they don't want anything that's less than perfect to leave their studio. So when I visited Korea to procure these materials, I was struck by just the beauty of their work, but then realizing that so much of their failure has to stay controlled and out of sight. And I was so struck by the landscape of broken shards behind the atelier. So I did a cultural exchange and moved 2 tons of ceramic waste to build this incredible mosaic sculpture.
2 tons?
I was afraid customs would charge me because I was taking their treasures, but they were like, ceramic waste, okay, it's going to Korea. It's going to Korea to New York.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing. All right. Would you describe the piece of work for us?
So the piece inside are reminiscent of the 2 vases, the traditional vases that Koreans make. And I wanted to talk about that broken piece, the shards that one might feel like a treasure. And that's how I really experienced just discovering this, that even though it's broken, it really had the beauty, the color, the kind of tactility of this great ancient art. And so bringing it back to a place, recontextualizing it in New York, really meant something to the communities that know Celadon as such a familiar and cultural rich heritage. And so for me, seeing these and presenting these shards broken and collectively mosaic together means that we can kind of experience what it feels like as a diaspora to be connected to a history that's rich, but also to contextualize new histories in a new place.
What kind of questions do you want someone to think about after they see your piece, Celadon Landscape?
Well, we are activating it with a new participatory project.
Oh, nice.
And it literally comes with a question.
Okay, what's the question?
And it is site related to the cemetery. I thought of asking the visitor, who do you carry with you?
Who do you carry with you?
And knowing that a piece of shard is something where once it maybe held water and served tea and was functional, and when that function leaves us, and yet those memories stay with you. So I was thinking about a loved one that you might be remembering, and even though that person's no longer with you, you carry them with you in your heart. And so the prompt is these beautiful paper shards that I've recreated, and visitors are putting the name of someone that you love on it. And then I come back and make a huge collective collage. So it's a memorializing of all the beloved, the ones that are remembered through the visitors' participation.
We're discussing new art you can see at the Greenwood Cemetery, which is opening a new welcome and education center this weekend. My guest is artist Shin. Her pieces Offering and Celadon Landscape are on view at the cemetery starting April 18th. Opening day for Jean. She's hosting an event to the public. It's open from 3 to 5 p.m. You were born in Korea, although you were raised in the United States. When you think about the Korean influence on your work, how would you describe it?
Wow, that's a tough question for me. It's just part of who I am, right?
Yeah.
There's no one specific part. But I do think in terms of my family lineage. And so these projects have leaned into that uniqueness that may be different than those who are raised in a Western way. And I think about the collective. I think about how relational our sense of family and belonging are. You always refer to your friends and like as an older sister or a younger brother. It's always in relation. You don't often speak to someone's name, but mostly in relationship to my, in-laws' great-grandfather, on the second side. Or, so it's always kind of a close relation. And I love that part of it, that we're not individuals and just strangers. We're really one big family.
And that speaks directly to the art that you're doing for the cemetery. It's people's families. They come to see the people that they love.
Yes, it's trying to find those connections.
Yeah. Let's talk about your second piece. It's called Offering. It's at the main meadow entrance. On the surface, it looks like 2 trees have fallen into the ground. Tell us about these trees that you've used.
Yes, there are trees, the red oak and the pin oak, that have lived and died on the cemetery grounds. For different reasons, they had to be taken down for endangerment of the property, monuments, and so on. And they were cut and displaced and then forgotten. And when I was touring the site, I said, "Oh, tell me about these trees." And they know that I have more in trees, worked with trees to make public works. They thought I might be interested. And I said, "Well, why are they here just displaced like this, forgotten?" And I really immediately said, they need a proper burial. We need to honor them. And these are our elders. They gave so much, and after they died, they could still be offering so much to us. So many lessons learned by elder trees and nature. So I was able to, work with the staff, the grave diggers, to open the front entrance for a grave for 2 trees, and they're kind of markers to the entrance to the cemetery. So this open grave, we moved.
So wait, you worked with grave diggers?
I know. Unlike fabricators.
I'm going to let that go away. You worked with grave diggers. Tell me a little bit more about that experience.
Yes, I'm going to do a shout out to Jimmy, one of my favorite grave diggers, who's been really putting his heart and soul into this work with me. So yeah, what a treat to be able to work with such specialized trades who, of course, the work depends on the cemetery and the burials. But they're often doing burials for families and the human. So here it's like they had to dig the biggest grave they've ever done, over 120 feet long. The trees are that massive. The bodies are huge, but they're able to move such weight and capacity. But it's really epic and massive earthwork that I did in collaboration with the grave diggers.
And now they're art installers as well.
Yes, it's amazing to see the dance of the cranes and all the movement.
How did Greenwood's natural environment inspire you as an artist?
Oh, the first thing when you go into the gates, you're greeted by this lovely sound, and it's the birds. And if you look up, you'll see these green parrots. And they're not native, right? But they came here and they decided to make a home. And that's so inspiring that they've sort of naturalized into the environment and found a home at Greenwood Cemetery. And I think that's just like such a New York story. It's an American story. So nature has a way of adaptive and resilience despite, cramped spaces and displacement happening all over and gentrification and certainly in Brooklyn. But here they are. They found their home for generations living up in the gates of Greenwood. Throughout the cemetery, of course, there are a whole living collection of trees. They're allowed to grow and become elders. And that's where the inspiration, where these two had died. And so therefore, they should have a permanent home here that people can visit too.
Greenwood is lovely. It's just a lovely place to go. The piece also incorporates what's called gathering stones. Will you tell me a little more about that?
Yes. So not only when you dig the grave, you displace earth. So our graves will have these incredible mounds of dirt, but they also encounter glacial rocks. And so these are sort of problems for them because they have to move these rocks somewhere out of the way. And so for me, it's like, wow, we're reckoning with time, like these geological connections. And here we are at the site. And it would be amazing to offer them around the tree burial so that people can touch this ancient stone to connect with the glacial times, to imagine our mortality as well, that we will be here today. And certainly it's not news that we're not going to be here forever. But it's the question of what do we leave behind and who will remember us, who will remember our touch. And so I think connecting with these rocks will be so important. We've also carved some of them into beautiful bird baths.
Oh, beautiful.
So they will be offering water and nutrients for the visitors who are flying in. Greenwood is a great green space, so migratory birds also pass through too. So bird watching communities know this space very well. And I just wanted to offer water, such an essential part of life for all communities.
You touched on this briefly, but I want to get back to it. This weekend, the 3 to 5 public event, what can people expect?
Oh, I will be talking about how different projects I've mourned trees and offered a grieving space for gatherings around and thinking about nature. But I also have a special guest, which is Mudang Jen, a diaspora Korean shaman. And she'll be blessing the ancestral site and bringing in participants to offer, the nutrients that we need. And I think it's a real chance for us to think about nature being part of our sense of life. So that we're really in ceremony together and thinking about rituals that we need to let go, rituals that we need to persist despite the hardships that may be going on. So the project is really hopeful, and I'm hoping she's able to activate that for all of us who gather.
Have you been in the new greenhouse yet?
Oh, yes, many times installing.
And what do you think?
Oh, it's so delightful. I mean, I'm always amazed when we're able to reclaim space. So the love to restore a historic greenhouse is incredible. And then the pristine galleries, of course, to be offered a space to fill it with art. But there's so much contextual history, so people can spend a lot of time there. The best part also is there's an education classroom. So the young children can gather and really have a place to meet before they explore deeply at the cemetery life.
Shin has been my guest. She's hosting an event open to the public from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Greenwood Cemetery, which is opening its Welcome and Education Center this weekend. You can see her pieces Offering and Celadon Landscape. Thank you for coming to WNYC.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.